Hi, welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling. Happy to see you guys here tuning in once again, having some internet issues. Hopefully my screen, my camera it's a little wonky, but we'll see if we'll try to get through it without any more problems. So we're going to talk about professional wrestling. My segments today. We're going to talk about WWE NXT. We're going to review that episode. We're also going to talk about some AEW Dynamite. We're going to talk about AJ Styles' injury. More serious than a lot of WWE personnel, fans, media kind of wanted to kind of lead out to be. So we're going to talk about that. In our fourth segment, we're going to talk about Brock Lesnar coming back to the WWE. You saw on Monday Night Raw, he was referenced twice. And from a wrestler that was told by WWE personnel to like, hey, don't even mention this guy's name at all. To be like, you know what? It's okay for you guys to mention his name. For it to be like, all right, it happened twice in the same night. So we're gonna talk about that. And then our fifth and final segment, something we do every Wednesday, we talk about my Wednesday's weekly wrestling news. We talk about some of the hottest news in terms of the world of professional wrestling, breaking news. But before we do any of that and move on to the subject matter, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link. Also hit up that super chat. Whether if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears 1,010%. This show is all about keeping the conversation going, making sure you guys feel like your voice is part of the mix. Yeah, 1,010%. We're gonna go ahead and do that. And yeah, don't be too shy. Obviously, drop the chat whenever whatever you feel, however you feel. 1,010%. This should um sorry, my microphone is not Oh my God. Okay. All right. I think it should be working. If it's not, I'm going to be really upset because I only find out like at the end of every podcast. So, it's not really a good situation. But anyways, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. But if you really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on there, why not use that super chat? It's that dollar sign below that chat box. Whatever you put inside that message is going to be guaranteed to be featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support the GSMC Sports Network, all these other podcasts, all these amazing podcasters. Those super chats obviously helps us keep the lights on it so we can bring you guys even more awesome sports content. You're absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. So, yeah, let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our first segment. We're going to talk about some WWE NXT preview. Overall, it was a great episode. I liked it. There's some things obviously that maybe I would have changed about it, but more or less, especially with everything that's happening with NXT going on the CW. Basically, they're gonna take what they get. They're gonna take what they get. They're gonna be happy, and 1,010%. I am too. I feel like wrestling right now feels like it's in like this new, digital era, this new day and age. So 1,010% wouldn't be surprised if NXT kind of steps it up, takes it to the next level. So first and foremost, we had Tony D'Angelo's WWE NXT North American Championship celebration. He was talking about basically that he had Obafemi from the beginning. He baited him in, made him feel like he lost faith, made him feel like he was broken down in front of his family. So Tony D'Angelo did, I guess, a great job of that. He was talking about the thing that overcame Obafemi, the reason why he lost his championship was his pride, and you can see that within the match. Oba at times felt like he was in the ring with every other competitor that he's always faced against inside, the squared circle. But Tony D'Angelo was, he really did do a great job of, kind of playing that aspect of Obafemi, using his strengths as weaknesses, also capitalizing on those weaknesses, being able to get that 1, 2, 3 was pretty big, and he realizes that their feud is absolutely far from over. Obafemi came out, wants a Halloween Havoc rematch, spins the wheel. We're going to have a TLC, tables, ladders, and scares. It used to be skulls. Tables, ladders, and scares. So that should be awesome. Next we have Stephanie Vacure makes her in-ring debut against Ren Sinclair of the No Quarter Catch crew. It was overall I felt like it was very impressive. You know, her style of wrestling is kind of unlike any other women's wrestler in WWE NXT, which is great. So, obviously you understand why she was signed in international talent. Ren Sinclair also, she was very impressive as well. Thousands episode, I thought she was, she definitely outperformed a lot what a lot of people kind of, expected to be like a smash match for Stephanie Vacure. But being brutally honest, I think it's great. I think it's great for Stephanie. Also, it's great for Ren Sinclair. One of those matches where Ren didn't really go down without a fight. I thought it was pretty cool. Very impressed. She's the Dark Angel. Her finisher, to be honest, looks like a glorified, backbreaker, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, okay, not much to say about that. It looks a little weak. It looks a little weak. Then you had Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez come out to attack Dark Angel. The Dark Angel was, assisted by international star Julia, creating a match, an oncoming match, a challenge at Halloween Havoc, a tag team match. So we have that, written in, basically written in blood, solidified. It's gonna happen. All right, next we see a promo backstage. Fatal Influence is obviously eyeing Kaylani Jordan's NXT Women's North American Championship, which would be great. I feel like that's gonna be amazing. Um, I, you know, I'm not a huge fan of JC Jane. Jasmine Nix is probably the most impressive out of the whole three. And Fallon Henley, I don't feel like she's that great as well. Like I want to see, JC Jane, because later on during the show, you had them come up to the general manager Ava from WWE NXT, demanding that one of them is going to challenge Kilani Jordan, and Ava basically, she was like, you know what, you guys pick. You guys think you guys know everything? Go to pick, guys. Go to pick. But the two that aren't facing, for the championship are going to fight Julia and Stephanie Vacor next week on NXT. Obviously, we have Halloween Havoc a mere 2 weeks away. So it should be interesting to find out who Julia and Roxanne have no, who Julia and Stephanie have to beat to kind of build up this momentum that they definitely need going up against Cora Jade and the NXT World Heavyweight Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. Next, we have a gentleman's duel between Oro Mensa of Metaphor and Lexis King. I thought it was a great match. I thought it was a good spot for both of these superstars. You kind of have Alexis King. He's kind of done being a jerk, being like a, I can't say it on air, but kind of being like stop being a DB. I don't know if any of you guys know what that means. But after I guess um some remarks made by CM Punk made him kind of ultimately kind of reflect on where his wrestling career is truly taking him. Is he really honestly having a great time where he's at right now with WWE NXT? Obviously, he's made it, from AEW, but as of right now, I feel like he could be a better piece in NXT, but it should be interesting to find out what happens next. Sorry, excuse me. All right. So next we have Lola Vice losing against Nikita Lyons. Nikita Lyons is both of these women are going to be stars without a doubt. Jada Parker, obviously, she intervened with that happening. It was like, all right, like it's cool that Lyons was able to take advantage of of Jada Parker's distraction. Lola Vice is a very worthy competitor in WWE NXT. There's no doubt about that. Leading up to a match, probably these girls are going to fight at Halloween Havoc. They're going to spin the wheel. Me myself personally, I would absolutely love to see these two girls go at it in like a weapons choice match. It would be pretty badass. Also, it would be pretty cool to like, I'm an old school wrestling fan. Like, buried alive, casket matches and stuff like that. It'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool, 1,010%. So it should be interesting to find out who, well, because they're gonna have a match. These two are definitely gonna have a match at Halloween Havoc, and it would be pretty awesome. Next, we have Riley Osborne of Chase U loses against Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland is just overall too powerful for Chase U. Like, Duke Hudson couldn't knock him off. Andre Chase couldn't get the job done. Riley Osborne. And, after the match, you saw Holland attack Osborne. Obviously, that's his, kind of like his MO in recent times. You definitely got to give it up to Thea Hill. Thea Hill, I don't know if she's trying to pursue herself a career in Hollywood, but the way she like screams and always like, stop, like it's so powerful. It's like I don't know. She tries to sell kayfabe. She tries her best to kind of allude to kind of butter fans up to kind of get invested in this storyline. And I feel like it's real. It's exactly what NXT Shawn Michaels wanted once when he had this Rich Holland infiltrates Chase U. Eventually they will become tag team champions, then they lose it. But I don't know. It's just it's good storyline, storytelling as well as great acting, or great choreography and stuff like that. Once again, Andre Chase returned. He was able to kind of fight Rich Holland off of Riley Osborne. Holland at this point looks like he's outmatched. Next week, you'll probably see somebody from Chase U like Duke Hudson make his return to WWE NXT. In that case, Rich Holland does need some help. Maybe perhaps he gets Pete Dunne back into the mix, which seems like seems fitting. It seems fitting right now. So definitely would love to see that. Ashanti Adonis, the Adonis, lost against Brooks Jensen. Carmen Petrovic comes out obviously with the rose petals and stuff like that. And Adonis, with the distraction, he was able to get the loss. But then again, Sean Spears also played a pivotal role as well. So Brooks Jensen gets back into the win column, defeating Ashanti the Adonis. And the main event, we have the number one contender for the WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship match at WWE NXT's Halloween Havoc. We have Ethan Page, All Ego, taking on Javon Evans, your boy Bouncy. Also, we have Wesley, the former longest reigning WWE NXT North American champion. You saw Ethan Page pick up the win, which overall I kind of wanted to happen. We're going to see, a rematch between these guys. He gets his rematch clause. Like he got his rematch clause. He spin the wheel. And it's going to be a devil's playground at the end of the show. You saw Ethan Page struck Trick Williams, the NXT World Heavyweight Champion, with kind of with like a projector, kind of like a light, that was like standing on its own. So just like a little taste of what's to expect at WWE Halloween Havoc. He even told Trick Williams in that promo that he was like, you know what, you have unleashed the devil inside me, the evil inside me. So it should be interesting to find out how Ethan Page reacts to this. Would be interesting to find out if Trick Williams does lose the title back to All Ego Ethan Page. To be honest, it kind of gives me like The Rock and like Triple H, feud in the early 2000s, late 1999s. So overall, I thought it was great. I thought it was a great episode, and I can't wait for Halloween Havoc. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We talked about WWE NXT. Now we're gonna get into some AEW Dynamite when we return. So hey, don't touch that dial. Grab your favorite snack. Grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about like 25 seconds.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh,
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Here we know that was gonna be electric. I got to play a postseason series here in 2015, and all right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And it seems like my camera's still a little wonky. Apologies. Sorry, excuse me. Once again for the internet disruption. But without further ado, we talked about WWE NXT. Now we're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite. Yeah, but of course, before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat, the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. If you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling here on the sports, on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, we want to definitely hear about 1,010%. This show is all about keeping it going, keeping this amazing sports podcasting sports network, together, be a part of our bloodline. And, don't be afraid to donate. Don't be afraid to be part of the mix. Like and subscribe to the network, follow the network, and you guarantee you that you will never, ever, ever feel upset doing so. We have a lot of amazing podcasters, who keep you hooked in the world of sports. So, 1,010%, don't be shy. Just do it. Make it like Nike and just do it. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. Don't be shy. And if you really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets addressed during the show, why not use that super chat? It's that $ below the chat box, and whatever you guys have to say, it's going to be featured and debated about on the show 1,010%. Plus, it's a great way for the GSMC Sports Network to ultimately spread its wings, for you guys' support of our channel so we can keep bringing amazing sports content coming at you guys Monday through Friday. 1,010%. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. All the difference, 1,010%. So let's go ahead and send in those super chats. Let's go ahead and send in those super stickers because you guys are super awesome, and together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. But once again, at the GSMC, if the super chat not your thing, hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. 1,010%. So obviously, in terms of talking sports, we understand that there's a lot of criticisms, a lot of negative perspectives, and it's cool. It's cool. 1,010%. Feedback is a gift. So, if you have something to say, even if it's not, bright and flowers and rainbows and stuff like that, it's cool. It's cool. We just want you guys to feel like you guys are absolutely part of the show. I'm here talking in front of the mic, and believe me, I don't want to hear, I don't want to be here yelling at the mic for like an hour straight. I would absolutely love a lot of audience engagement, 1,010%, especially in the world of professional wrestling. Where perspectives, hot takes, also pondering storylines, spots, championship obligations. Looking forward to some PLEs. Who do you guys think is going to win the 2025 Royal Rumble? Things like that. In the world of wrestling, just do it. Just send them however you guys feel. There are no wrong answers. I would never ever make someone feel obsolete for sending in something that they obviously is passionate about, talking on a wrestling laureate podcast. So 1,010%. Make sure you guys feel like you guys are part of the mix. All right, we have Dynamite. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. AEW Dynamite is live and proud in San Jose, California at the SAP Center. Oh, wow. That's like near where my brother lives. My brother lives up north in Northern California. Obviously we got done with we got done with AEW's Wrestle Dream. Now we are building toward Full Gear, which is taking place on November 23rd. Should be pretty awesome. Can't wait to see what happens next. All right, first and foremost, we're going to hear from John Moxley, the new AEW World Heavyweight Championship. What's his state of mind? He declared war against the current state of AEW, and the only guy that could really back up AEW was Brian Danielson, but he's out. He's out, and I don't think he's going to come back anytime soon. I doubt he will ever come back as a full-time wrestler. I only think he's probably going to come back to kind of address the AEW crowd, basically saying thank you, that his time is done. And I don't know. It should be pretty interesting. Should be pretty interesting. Moxley was he backed up his words in a major way in Wrestle Dream, where he defeated Bryan Danielson to become the new AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Moxley, Wheeler, Yuta, and also the rest of the team, the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club. Claudio Castagnoli, also the Bastard Pack. They they kind of planned a mutiny. Like you know what I mean. At first, Wheeler, Yuta. He kind of thought to himself, he's like, you know what? Brian Danielson is part of us. I can't turn my back on him. But then after everything that's happened, I basically, and then you saw that spot. You saw that spot on Title Tuesday before AEW Wrestle Dream aired, where you saw Wheeler Yuta basically dragged inside of the ring and being basically like, he was getting his ass kicked. He was getting his ass kicked, and then Brian Danielson led his anger for John Moxley, and you left Wheeler Yuta right there. If he eventually came back, and I get it. But if Wheeler Yuta has any excuse to kind of be upset with Brian Danielson, it's that spot right there. It's that like the togetherness. And that's something that John Moxley has been very adamant about, during his promos, during a lot of his matches. You've seen Claudio, you've seen Pac. Now you see Wheeler Yuta. It's going to be interesting to kind of find out. They're the Trios Championships. I thought ultimately it would split, causing, them to forfeit the titles. But obviously that's not going to happen. So, it should be interesting to find out what happens tonight. Obviously, we are on the fallout of AEW Wrestling Dream tonight on Dynamite. Um, so it should be interesting. Once again, Marina Shafir brought out that damn plastic bag that got a lot of hate online from wrestling news media. Kids are watching it, and if you're trying to appeal to a younger audience, much like you probably should to have a successful wrestling promotion, you can't have things like that. You can't have things like that. But overall, we're not going to see the American Dragon come back to AEW. We're not going to see him step inside the ring for a very, very long time. At the end of the pay-per-view at Wrestle Dream, you had a scary moment where he was, placed on a stretcher a couple of weeks ago when he fought AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada. He mentioned that during the match he lost feeling, he lost strength inside both of his legs. And that's not good. That's not good. Right now, it's time for Brian Danielson to, hang up the fact that he's going to be a full-time wrestler, and no shame has become of it. I thought him, retiring from the world of wrestling. I kind of thought he was going to have a couple of more events, or maybe like a month and a half tops left in him, but something that it was probably really bad. It was probably very bad to the point where, John Moxley, behind the scenes, him and Brad Danielson are cool. 1,010%. I could bet your ass that, like, after that little, heated exchange, after, Moxley won the belt, he was waiting backstage for Bryan Danielson. I bet they gave themselves, the biggest hug in the world. Like, you know what I mean? Bryan Danielson being like, you know what? This is Mox's company. Like, this is John Moxley's company. Like, I love myself some MJF. I did love Swerve Strickland when he was the champion. He had a good run. He ultimately did have a good run. Samoa Joe was cool. You know what I mean? Chris Jericho, all the AEW World Heavyweight Champions in the past. But John Moxley just deserves it. Like, he deserves it. He has so much potential. He has so much credibility in terms of, creating these badass promos. That's gonna, so I'm not upset that Brian Danielson lost. I'm kind of upset that, I thought that he was gonna have a little bit more left inside. Was gonna have a little bit more left in him, but without, lo and behold, obviously, your brain might say something, but at the end of the day, your body could give up on you in a matter of time. All right, so we had TBS champion Mercedes Moné. She didn't compete in a wrestling dream match, but she did have a backstage confrontation with Queen Aminata at the 0 Hour pre-show. So we're gonna see these two girls go at it face to face. Also, we're going to see babyface Chris Statlander. We're gonna see her show up after after she after she basically attacked Willow Nightingale, to cause her to lose the TBS AEW Championship against Mercedes Monet, and I think it was not Double or Nothing. It wasn't Double or Nothing. Damn it! What was it? Damn it! But overall, like just another failed plan by Tony Khan in AEW. Chris Statlander was never really perfect for a heel push. It more or less happened for Willow to drop the title to Mercedes Monet, which is kind of sad, kind of terrible. I don't like that. I feel like Willow is I know you paid Mercedes Monet all this money, but I kind of like Willow more than Mercedes, and a lot of these fans do. They agree so. So it's going to be interesting to find out her future bookings with that. The Elite, the Young Bucks, Kaz Okada is going to take on the conglomeration, Rocky Romero, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy, which is, once again, looking at what's happening on AEW Dynamite, the fact that you did not make this a 4-on-4 match, I've always kind of held that ground that Jack Perry, the AEW TNT champion, I feel like he's kind of outshined a lot of people from the group. Matthew Nicholas Jackson right now, in my opinion, obviously my opinion, no disrespect whatsoever, but this elite storyline thing, them trying to be the next NWO, causing havoc, beating up Tony Khan, it died. It died in a burning hatchet to the ground. It's dead. And, I'm finally happy that it's gone. But them as a tag team, they kind of need to build up their credibility. I'm sorry, right? The Young Bucks, they have an international, not even nationally, not even just like, word of mouth, be like throughout the wrestling industry's local here within the United States, be like, hey, the Young Bucks are good. Hey, what about those Young Bucks? What about internationally? These guys are great. But lately, they haven't shown it. They haven't shown it, but then once again, that's not necessarily, it could be bad storylines, it could be bad storytelling. But as of right now, I want to see Matthew and Nicholas Jackson kind of bounce back and be the tag team that I've always thought they were, that they were. You know what I mean? No heel turns. No heel turns. You don't necessarily have to be babyface. You're gonna go out there every single time, work your arse off, and show why you are the AEW World Heavyweight title holders, tag team title holders. So, but as of right now, the credibility of the Young Bucks needs a lot of work. Kaz Okada recently has been featured in a lot of great matches. Don't really have much to complain about him. But before, about like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I kind of, thought that, one of the most prestigious guys to come out of New Japan Professional Wrestling, and he came from TNA. He had a TNA wrestling career before that, and he was garbage. He was garbage in TNA. He was bad. But of course, he went to New Japan Professional Wrestling. Kind of did a little bit of a reboot of his character, and now he's Dave Meltzer's #1 guy for great wrestling matches. So I would love to see what Kaz Okada has and his future with the Continental Championship with AEW. So it should be pretty interesting to find out what happens with that. And also tonight on AEW Dynamite, um, we're going to what else? We're also going to find out what's going on with damn it, with Daniel Garcia. Also, Shelton Benjamin makes his AEW in-ring debut. Should be pretty awesome. Should be pretty crazy to find out what's going on. Also, something other to keep your eye on. Kyle Fletcher turned on his best friend Will Ospreay. Maybe something's made from that. Adam Cole and MJF will go probably face to face tonight, and we're gonna find who's going to challenge Konosuke Takeshita of the Don Callis family, at AEW's Full Gear. And we also have, the AEW World Women's Champion Mariah May here tonight as well. Hook still doesn't know who attacked Taz. Should be interesting. I think it's Christian. He's gonna have a promo tonight as well. Chris Jericho also going to be in the arena. We having a fun, fulfilled, a loaded episode of AEW Dynamite. I can't wait to watch it. Have not checked a single shred of social media, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook for absolutely anything surrounding AEW. I got it recorded right now. Can't wait to watch it. So yeah. All right, moving on to our third segment. We're going to talk about some AJ Styles. AJ Styles, we're going to talk about his injury lane. It's not looking good, ladies and gentlemen. It's not looking good for the phenomenal one. So we're going to talk about that when we return. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Make mistakes in October. It's weather. It's hard to feel, and the pressure elevated. Absolutely. And it seems like these two teams.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling, all the hot takes, all the, inside and outside of the ring drama, behind the curtain drama as well. We talk about superstar inactive statuses, injury updates, contract negotiations, extensions, and signings. We talked about promotions from WWE to AEW, TNA to Ring of Honor. Also, we talk about Stardom. We talk about New Japan Professional Wrestling. We also talk about the NWA, the GCW. If it makes major news headlines in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show. Make sure you tune in every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. at the the GSMC Sports Network. Sorry, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank today. But before we get into our next segment, obviously make sure you guys hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember the Superman punch, that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. 1,010%. So don't be too shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. And without further ado, let's talk about some AJ Styles. And I misspelled AJ Styles. I'm just gonna fix that up real quick. All right, there we go. Okay, so AJ Styles, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not watch the October 4th episode of Friday Night SmackDown, in a match with Carmelo Hayes to determine the number one contender for the LA Knight and his WWE United States Championship, you saw AJ Styles go down, and it was it was problematic. It was it was nobody's fault. First and foremost, it wasn't Hayes' fault whatsoever. I've seen a lot of a lot of blame game going on within the world of wrestling media, being like, oh, Carmelo Hayes didn't jump on time, he didn't jump far enough. That's bullshit. That's nothing. That's kind of dumb. When somebody gets injured, sometimes it's sports. What I mean, they kind of just it just kind of happens. But overall, we have the phenomenal AJ Styles saying in an interview that he's cooked, hashtag cooked, after suffering a foot injury on WWE SmackDown. Absolutely heartbreaking. He recently made his debut back to WWE, got such a positive, reinforcement from the fans. And, just to see somebody going down like that, it sucks. It sucks. AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers in the whole entire world. I agree 1,010%. He should be a Hall of Famer, with all the stuff he did in New Japan Professional Wrestling, across seas internationally, also with, TNA. And when he made it back to WWE, he was such a hot topic. Like it was crazy. But WWE obviously learned the lines. I thought it was fake. I got to be honest. I thought it was super fake, and still to this day, people still think that this injury is actually kind of fake because based on the original storyline that WWE was trying to do, which I'm going to get into that later. But I don't know. What would have happened with the United States title picture if AJ Styles would have won? If he would have become the number one contender for the LA Knights WWE United States Championship? Obviously, it still would be highly regarded as because these guys have had they've had beef before. They showed up at each other's houses, and these guys once when they go up against each other, their promos especially heading toward one of the big four pay-per-views in WWE Survivor Series. I ultimately thought it would have been a great way for these two guys to kind of go at it. But AJ Styles, it just sucks. It just sucks. AJ Styles seemed to be heading toward a baby face. What would that mean if he was going up against the LA Knight? Maybe a potential heel turn from the LA Knight on WWE SmackDown right now. You have it. I feel like before, and this is before Kevin Owens turned heel. It was filled with baby faces who was just ruling, the basically the time that all the Showtime. Like Nia Jax, she's a heel, but I don't feel like she's really that much of a crazy heel. You have Naomi, you have Bailey, you have Tiffany Stratton, who I feel like is kind of warming up to the WWE universe, and vice versa. And then you have in the men's division, you have you have you know you have Carmelo. Carmelo Hayes isn't really a heel though. I got to be honest. I don't think he's a heel. You have Randy Orton, babyface. Kevin Owens was a babyface. Cody Rhodes, babyface. Jimmy Uso, babyface. Roman Reigns, babyface. And then the only really hardcore heels that you had was the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and the Tongans. So, having the United States champion turn heel, but then, with Logan Paul, he played as a heel. He did play as a heel. So maybe it was time for maybe some kind of a new adjustment because they were like, you know what, we just got done with Logan. The LA Knight has been well deserving of he's been well deserving of a title run. No one's taken that away from him at all whatsoever. It's just the fact that, it's just his storyline sometimes it seems like it could be a little stale, and I don't know if I'm missing something, and I don't know if obviously if you guys feel differently, make sure you guys hit it up in the chat. But as of right now, I feel like the LA Knight, and I was talking about this with my CEO today in our production meeting, is he's a placeholder. You know what I mean? He's kind of like what Damian Priest was. He's kind of like what Gunther is on Monday Night Raw. Like I believe in Gunther's talent. Yeah, no one's taking that away from him. But as a world's heavyweight champion, I felt like that reign was a little bit too soon. Being honest, you had that feud going down with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and WWE was like, well, we can't do much about it now. We got to play it out. So, and also Seth Rollins getting injured. You got injuries plague WWE Monday Night Raw. So, the fact that people are comparing, Damian Priest, also the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, as one of the best champions in, on Raw. Once when you have the Universal Champion. Uh, you know, I don't like I said, no disrespect, but these guys, they're just not that big. Like it's just not that like main event kind of worthy. And I feel like WWE is gonna fix that. And I trust Triple H, Paul Levesque. Obviously, everything he's done so far has been absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know, it's just I just hope it just ends well. You know what I mean? All right, so Styles obviously attempted to continue the match against Carmelo Hayes. Obviously, did not happen. His contract is set to expire next year, and he was supposed to, according to sources, he was supposed to set a kickoff farewell tour. So obviously he's gearing for retirement. He was. And as of what happened, what's happening right now with his injury, obviously that will prolong it, that will kind of push it to the side a little bit, maybe have it for a further date. But just seeing AJ Styles, Fightful Select reported that Styles was actually supposed to lose via a referee stoppage that night. The storyline was a knee injury. I don't want to say karma. I don't want to come out here and be like, "Oh, well, that's karma. You should have never put that out there." Uh, what is that? The whole thing with the boy who cries wolf and stuff like that. But he was supposed to. It's just so crazy how true it actually kind of forthcoming. Like it's crazy, you can't always you get what you want. I'm just kidding, no. But overall, kind of crazy, kind of ironic. But I don't know. He placed it as a WWE medical personnel basically placed it as a Liz Frank injury when the bones and the ligaments in the middle of the foot can cause bruising, deformity, swelling, and severe pain. This injury has ended seasons for a lot of NFL running backs. Um, it could take somewhere from 6 weeks. And that's the scary thing about this injury. 6 weeks. Hey, dude, that's cool. I'm fine with that. But if surgery is necessary, absolutely necessary, at least it's going to be a year. It's going to be a year. And, AJ Styles, he's getting to that age. He's getting older. And I'm not, trying to crap on AJ Styles at all because I respect him. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world internationally. But he's getting older, man. And then him getting injured like this, and his farewell tour was supposed to be set. They were going to sign him to a Legends contract for 1 year. Then after that, they're like, you know what we'll do? We'll have AJ Styles kind of do something with, maybe perhaps somewhere with WWE NXT, or maybe this new collaboration, this partnership with TNA. But as of right now, AJ Styles is going to be out from, and it's kind of crazy to kind of, kind of traverse this a little bit from 6 weeks to a year. And, me as a wrestling fan, I'm heartbroken. I don't like it. As a matter of fact, I hate it. But it is what it is. I would love to see AJ Styles come back. So yeah, it's going to jump on into our next segment. We're going to go ahead and talk about Brock Lesnar's return update. Recently, he's been mentioned on WWE Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about some of that, and we're also going to talk about maybe some potential storylines. So hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Formation of scar tissue that an estimated 1 in 10 men may have. But PD can be treated even without surgery. Say goodbye to searching online. Find a specialized urologist who can diagnose PD and build a treatment plan.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain drama, WWE superstar, injury updates, and active statuses. Also, we talk about contract negotiations, extensions, also new signings. We talk about promotions from WWE to Stardom, New Japan Professional Wrestling to the CMLL, AEW to Ring of Honor, TNA to the GCW to the NWA. So, 1,010%. Make sure if you are a huge wrestling fan, you tune into this podcast every night, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on the GSMC Sports Network to be, flabbergasted, to kind of find some crazy ass stuff. I'm just kidding. In the world of in professional wrestling, obviously, if you guys have an opinion about it, Let me know. Hit it up in the chat. Would absolutely love to hear what you guys have to say. All right, so without further ado, we're going to talk about our next segment. We got Brock Lesnar, the reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion. Brock. I'm just kidding. No. Moving on. Brock Lesnar. I don't hate Brock Lesnar. When he was the WWE champion, when he was the Universal champion, he added a lot of prestige to the title. He added a lot of, you know, without storylines, WWE is dead. It's stupid. It makes no sense. It's choreographed. It's, fake wrestling. But with storylines, it becomes so beautiful. And with Brock Lesnar in the mix, as the reigning WWE champion, as the reigning Universal champion, he helped kind of pave WWE to become the way it is right now. That's when, you had a lot of people buying pay-per-views, especially during the pandemic. Especially during the pandemic, he did such a great job of representing the title. Obviously, he lost his title to Drew McIntyre, which was good, which was great for Drew, which was absolutely amazing for Drew. That's the reason why I kind of respect him. I believe more than like other WWE maybe fandoms do, because during that pandemic where there was no ticket sales, no merchandise sales, basically WWE was wrestling in the Thunderdome in front of a bunch of FaceTiming screens, without having the fans there, it makes a difference. 1,010%, it makes the difference. I remember when they overall announced that, COVID-19 or the pandemic was a global pandemic. You saw Triple H Paul Levesque come out and basically said they're not going to have any fans in the building. Everyone's going to be standing 6 feet apart. Also, you only had a handful, at most, I think it was 10 to 15 people in the arena at all times. And it was, it was crazy. It was very, very crazy. It was dark times, unprecedented times. But Brock Lesnar, he was the WWE champion. He was the Universal champion too. I feel like whenever this guy's holds the title, it just people pay attention. People pay attention, and that's just something that that you got to invest in if you are a wrestling promotion. That's something that you ultimately have to, kind of prioritize. Although Brock Lesnar, a lot of people complain, even I complain. I was like, dude, this guy's never here. He's never here from week to week and stuff like that. That's because he was the champion. And I'm not saying that's how wrestling should be. Obviously, throughout Roman Reigns' championship run as well, during the longest reigning Universal WWE Undisputed Championship run, it was long. It was very long. It was very long. Sometimes he wasn't there. Obviously, not getting that much hate that Brock Lesnar got, but overall, it does serve its purpose at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It all plays into the storyline. It gets wrestling fans excited. It gets them into whatever's going to happen at the PLE. That's why you don't really see the WWE Undisputed Championship being defended on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or vice versa. That's kind of a lie. You see the World Heavyweight Championship being defended on Monday Night Raw a couple of times. So, him coming back, I would absolutely love, going after, Gunther, because Gunther in an interview did say that his final boss, he's not going to feel accomplished as the WWE champion unless he defends and defeats, successfully retains a title against the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. So that could possibly be maybe a little bit of foreshadowing. Maybe they're working things behind the scenes, but I don't know. Brock Lesnar is coming back to the WWE on Monday Night Raw. Like I mentioned before, he was referenced twice. It went from WWE during the lawsuit. It went from them being like, do not think about mentioning his name, and definitely don't even think about thinking about mentioning his name. They never mentioned Brock Lesnar's name. During Paul Heyman's retirement speech, yeah, he was mentioned. But before that, it was a no-no. And then it got to the point where I was like, you know what, Brock isn't in that much deep stuff as we thought he was going to be with this whole Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon thing. That, you know what, you can mention him once in a while. Once in a while. And he was mentioned once in a while, not really that crazy. It's gotten to the point where within one night on Monday Night Raw, he was referenced twice. That's two more times than he's been mentioned in like 2.5 years, and that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. 8,000. Obviously, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's crazy. And him coming back to WWE just fits. He's a WWE superstar. Thick and through, and I feel like he's going to be great. After everything that happened with the Janelle Grant case with Vince McMahon and the allegations and stuff like that, he was kind of under a lot of negative publicity, a lot of scrutiny. I would have done the same thing that Brock Lesnar has done. Right now, he's kind of hiding under the radar. You know what I mean? He's kind of like, you know what? It's a lot of heat right now if I return back to WWE. And, I don't want to get a lot of negative information from the fans because they think I played a part in this whole, sex trafficking thing with John Laurinaitis, Vince McMahon, and Janelle Grant. Like, you know what I mean? I understand that he's like, yeah, allegedly, of course. Um, but, I understand he's like, you know what? I want this stuff to blow over first, and then I will come back and rock ass. You know what I mean? I will come back and absolutely destroy my competition. So, definitely think Brock Lesnar is on the right track. You're kind of doing that. And, it's just kind of crazy how his name was mentioned twice on WWE Monday Night Raw. He's still one of the highest paid WWE superstars. So, when you're paying revenue into somebody, when you're trying to pay, you're basically professional wrestling is a lot about, it's kind of like stocks. The more money you put into it, the more time, the attention it gets, the more it's going to kind of cash out later and be an absolute star. And right now, I feel like Brock Lesnar is at that point in his career where he doesn't really necessarily have to be that badass beast incarnate guy that we all, kind of know, love, and respect. He doesn't have to be that guy. But whoever he fights against, you guarantee it, people are going to be watching because Brock Lesnar is, he's prestigious. He is prestigious. And definitely, he's he's carried WWE on his back for quite some time. Of course, before the whole Roman Reigns thing, and before John Cena left, and back in the day, in 2020, 2002, when he was younger, Brock Lesnar is just somebody that you pay attention to. And then as a wrestling fan, I don't mind Brock Lesnar. I don't 1,010%. So what does this mean? Is he going to return at the Royal Rumble 2025? He was supposed to return in 2024. So I don't think he's going to win the damn thing, but him just coming in and just, basically be like, hey, guess what? I'm back. Who's next? You're next. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, patronize Bill Goldberg. But also, what's his potential storylines in Brock Lesnar? You know what I mean? John Cena returning to WWE Monday Night Raw for Netflix. Netflix desperately needs somebody like Brock Lesnar on their side. And, he kind of fits there rather than anybody else. He's going to challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So I definitely think that's perfect. Brock Lesnar in the WWE has way more unfinished business than a lot of people know about. And I'm not gonna, blast it all over media right now because, I, did a lot of research and I was like, you know what, I kind of know why Brock Lesnar wants to come back and return on his own time. If it's not for him, it might not even be for his friends and family and stuff like that. When you talk about legacy in the world of professional wrestling, it's a concept, it's a term that's kind of thrown around lightly. But for Brock Lesnar, after everything that's gone down, you kind of want to leave WWE at the top of your game, much like he left UFC with a lot of respect. Didn't necessarily leave it at with the championship, but he got the respect. And Brock Lesnar right now in the world of professional wrestling has respect. So 1,010%, I think he's going to be great. Brock Lesnar was told by Triple H in an interview. Triple H said to an interview that he says when Brock Lesnar returns, it's up to Brock. So 1,010%, I feel like his WWE return is imminent. It's also in the future. It's lingering behind my right shoulder here. So definitely can't wait to see the Beast Incarnate come back. All right, guys, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's our Wednesday's weekly wrestling news where I talk about all the major hot breaking news topics in the world of professional wrestling. Grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me back here. Do not go anywhere. Don't you dare leave me. Finish out this podcast, and I guarantee you I'll make it worth your while. But don't go anywhere. All right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain drama. We also talk about superstar news, inactive, statuses, injury updates as well. So, if you want to, tune into a lot of things about professional wrestling, talk about it here on the show. So don't miss it. All right, just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE NXT review. We had our AEW Dynamite preview. We talked about AJ Styles' injury, kind of the duration. Also, Brock Lesnar's his in-ring, debut. He's been referenced. He was referenced more than once on WWE Monday Night Raw. Does that mean anything? Perhaps. I got a chat from my man Alden Danielson saying hello, and I got a chat Io Sky and Kyrie saying face to face with Julia and Stephanie Vacura next week on NXT. During the backstage promo. I believe that could happen. International superstars obviously kind of, they kind of flock toward each other. Like that's the reason why you saw Julia, off the bat, create this alliance with, Stephanie Vacur. I love these two girls. I feel like these girls are going to be amazing in probably the best women's division in professional wrestling on WWE NXT. And I think it's going to be great. Io Sky and Kyrie saying face to face with Julia next backstage. Okay, no, all right, that was just a revamp. But I love Io Sky. I love the fact that Io Sky, when she was faced up against Bianca Belair, she was able to pick up the victory. Ultimately, I don't want to see Bianca Belair win every single time she steps inside of a ring. I'm sorry, I don't. Not that I don't respect her, or not, nor that I love her. Like I think she's pretty great. She's cool. Jade Cargo as well from AEW. I feel like ever since she's come to WWE, she's had a lot of success. Teaming up with Bianca Belair. I feel like the women's division right now is hot. It's ready to go. The tag team division, much like WWE on Raw or SmackDown, the tag team division seems like it's in shambles. Not for the women. Sorry, I misspoke on that. Yeah, I didn't mean it to seem like it was, in the women's division as well. I feel like their tag team division is a lot more better than what's happening on Raw. Like with JD McDonough and Finn Balor, dude, I don't really get it. Give the titles to somebody else. Just give them to somebody else. Something as simple as that. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our fifth and final segment, my Wednesday's weekly wrestling news roundup. So, yeah, let's dig on into it. All right. So, we had basically Gunther trash talk Bill Goldberg at WWE Bad Blood in an interview or with a nice little spot with the excellence of execution, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret Hart basically said that Bill Goldberg got off easy. And I'm not trying to throw shit. I'm not trying to make something into, a grander, a grander stage or a sense of trying to nitpick at you at somebody that you once fought with in WCW and may or may not have been the reason why you retired from professional wrestling. But more or less, like he just basically said, he was like, you know what, he got off easy. Bret Hart was actually thrown, in terms of Gunther's promo, he was thrown through the briar booth. You know what I mean? He was basically like, you know what, I consider myself more of a Bill Goldberg fan. And like, dude, the moment he said that, and the reason he said that, obviously, is that, one of the two, to get the fans, kind of worked up because of especially everything that was, a couple months, no, not more than a month, a couple months ago. You had this whole what killed WCW, and then you had hot takes from a lot of former WCW wrestlers to be like, dude, the reason why this happened was because of this. And Bret Hart ultimately did kind of blame Bill Goldberg for, the kick in the head. That like every single time after that he went out there, he was concussed, he was dizzy, he was never really the same wrestler after that again, which kind of left him ultimately made him retire. Accident, maybe, most likely. I don't think he did it on purpose. Nothing in wrestling is like done on purposely to kind of hurt your fellow employee or your coworker or whatever. But Bret Hart, if he would have stayed healthy, oh my God, this guy would probably have more championship reigns than Ric Flair, Triple H, John Cena, and that's troublesome. That sucks because of how great he could have been. And the fact that he had to retire early, basically based on a botched move by Bill Goldberg back in WCW, they saw Bill and are like, you know what, we're gonna make this guy look strong. Who really cares about his training? And since his lack of training infiltrated, the spot with Bret Hart was ultimately he suffered. He suffered, you know what I mean? So I don't know. So I can imagine a little bit of animosity Bret Hart had to say about his promo with Gunther. Next, we have Randy Orton responds to Kevin Owens, basically said, "The next time I see you, bro," it wasn't bro, but obviously it was something with a B and it rhymed with which. Next time I see you, it's gonna be on. It is on. And he's going to attack, Kevin Owens. I got a chat from my man Anthony Mazzano. Hey man, what's up, buddy? Hope you had a great, a Tuesday. Hope you had a great Monday, Wednesday. Today is Hump Day, guys. We just have a couple more days heading toward the weekend. So, 1,010%, thank you so much for, giving a shout out there, my man, Anthony Mazzano. But, moving on, Randy Orton is absolutely frustrated with what a lot of decisions that Kevin Owens has made within the last couple of weeks, blaming Cody Rhodes basically for turning on him. A lot of wrestling fans understand how and why he decided to tag team with Roman Reigns, a former Bloodline member. Obviously, Kevin Owens was, his career was almost ended, in terms of kayfabe, by the Bloodline. So, just a lot of animosity. Not really saying that he does not have the excuse or that he doesn't have the right to be like, dude, what, Cody, like, what the hell, dog? What are you doing? Um, but basically him Randy Orton responding basically saying, hey Kevin Owens, I'm gonna kick your ass, just has a lot, just builds a lot more to the teeth of the storylines in terms of WWE Friday Night SmackDown, especially heading toward the Survivor Series. Once again, this kind of proves that you're not going to see a lot of Cody Rhodes inside this bloodline Civil War thing. I think Roman's going to settle out what's going down with his family on his own. So now we're going to see Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. I would love to see Randy Orton take on Cody Rhodes in the future, but I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I got a chat from my man Anthony Mazzano. Do you really blame Bill Goldberg for his lack of training in the business? He started at a late age, and not every person can pick up the business right away. That's true. That is true, and I can see how that could, and it's not really necessarily the wrestling news media or myself, blaming Bill Goldberg for his lack of training. Obviously, when you step inside the ring, I feel like WCW maybe pushed him a little prematurely, perhaps. But then once again, it's professional wrestling shit. Stuff happens. Sorry, excuse me. Stuff does happen, But if I don't know, he claimed to tell Brett that the boot was coming, that the kick was coming. Brett still to this day and will die by this. Basically says that Bill never told him. He didn't tell him stuff. He didn't tell him spit. He didn't tell me anything. And he ran into him, and then from a WCW, it was kind of at first. I felt like it was because I used to watch Monday Night Nitro and Thursday Night Stampede. I thought it was well put together, but as it started progressing, I kind of noticed more and more that I was like, you know what, maybe it's not. Maybe you have a lot of creatives like Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo kind of, pushing Bill Goldberg a little bit more, perhaps. Do I blame him for hurting Bret Hart? It's funny. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like I kind of, I do and I don't. I do and I don't because it was the inexperience of Bill Goldberg, like you said, you know, once when you get into the world of professional wrestling, you're not going to grab it. You're not going to grasp it right away. And Bill Goldberg still to this day, he's like, you know what? He even said in an interview, he was like, dude, like it happened. Hey, get over it. It was a freaking accident. Obviously, he didn't use the word freaking. So at the end of the day, it's just still a lot of hostility by Bret Hart that probably holds a lot of grudges, kind of like a CM Punk. They have a lot of similarities and stuff like that. But Bill Goldberg in WCW, he did wrestle a lot of bad matches, missed a lot of spots, a lot of botched moves. Like like I don't know, I right off the bat, being kind of put me on the spot. I would think that WCW did push Bill Goldberg right out of the gate, and it's not Bill's fault for trying to because once when you're kind of out there in the squared circle in front of well, not millions, but instead of in front of thousands of fans, it's kind of like you really have no choice to be like, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I can't do this, I can't do this. You're going to go out there with the utmost confidence. You're going to be like, dude, I can hit this suplex, I can hit this kick, I can hit this running lariat. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's kind of crazy. Also, know the chat. See, I think Brett is blame 1,010%. He does play the blame game a lot, Bret Hart. I do agree with that 1,010%. It's not Bill's fault that it happened. Should have held a grudge against Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff. In terms of creativity and also people who were kind of running the thing, you know, I feel like Bill Goldberg was kind of put in that spot where he was kind of, kind of set up to fail. Kind of like if, this could relate to a lot of stuff. Like if you're at any like 9 to 5 or basically any job, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you work at a restaurant, you're like, hey, dude, I got this hot kid, coming out. He looks good. He plays the part. He looks like a chef, a sous chef, or, whatever. Let's put him on the main grill. And then, like, he burns a couple of steaks here and there. He doesn't know how to, not to necessarily, like, know how to season the veggies. And, some of the recipes they come out bad. And then, some of that, the customers get upset. They, hey, I'm never coming back here again. This is bull spit. This is BS food. I don't want to eat this. It's like eating dog crap, and I wouldn't say it was really Bill's fault because essentially, he was young. He was young, much like you alluded to. And they're like, hey, kid, we need you to be like bigger and larger than life. You need to be that big badass Bill Goldberg. You have this amazing monstrous physique. Kind of, he kind of resembled Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was never really thrown out there, but a lot of people kind of, thought about that. They're like, hey, you know what? Like this guy kind of looks like Stone Cold. Like, you know what I mean? So they're like, you know what? You got to go out there and basically be a star. And, I don't know. It's just a well seasoned veteran like Bret Hart. It was just misfortune. It was just absolutely, it was an accident. I believe it was an accident, but but due to his lack of proper, well, not proper training, but just, for him to get reps, for him to get reps inside the ring. Also, we got another chat from my man Anthony Mazzano. Do you agree with me if Vince McMahon had Bill Goldberg in WWF before he went to WCW, he would have built slower and not push him right away? You know, Vince, he loved his big man. He did love his big men. During that time, they were pushing a lot of young superstars. They were a lot of young superstars. Believe it or not, they did have, according to a couple of reports I think I read on Fightful Select that they were trying to groom up people like like Hardcore Holly, like what I mean, like somebody like Gold Dust. But obviously, then you had Stone Cold Steve Austin went down with a neck injury in SummerSlam in 1997. Shawn Michaels hurt his back. Vince McMahon was like, "Oh crap! All right, now we got to kind of, we got to throw some of these superstars in there as well to kind of help, to kind of help the wrestling promotion go from a night to night basis and put on the best show that they could possibly had. If he went to WWE first, I do think that they would have kind of took their time with Bill Goldberg. WCW, Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo, they were so hot. They were so hot on the fact that we need to win these wrestling, these Monday Night War ratings. So they were like, you know what? Like I said, Bill Goldberg he was there. He's a star. He's a physical specimen. He was great. He did a lot of things, physicality. He did a lot of things right. He did 1,010%. He did a lot of things right. But then just that one little mistake ultimately led Bret Hart to hate him for the rest of his life, which is crazy. But it's like mistakes do happen in the world of professional wrestling, and Bill Goldberg inside the WWF. I don't want to necessarily go ahead and say like, I'm not trying to, crap on Vince Russo or Eric Bischoff because Vince Russo was a huge part of who The Rock became during the WWE Attitude Era. Eric Bischoff, obviously, much like Vince McMahon, had a chip on his shoulder, wanted to prove that he was the best, rub it in WWE's face, being like, hey, I got somebody that could absolutely kick your ass. And Bill Goldberg, shouldn't necessarily be, kind of put on blast for it, but he was obviously, what we were talking about before about all that. All right, rapidly wrapping this up. I only got 2 more minutes before my man Emran's GSMC soccer podcast. So if you are a soccer star or if you're a soccer fan, make sure you guys stay tuned. We have The Undertaker basically saying that athleticism inside the world of professional wrestling is kind of a curse. It's I kind of agree at this point. Um, as of right now, you have a lot of superstars, mid card, you have a lot of wrestlers that use their athleticism kind of like a 205 live wrestler. They're kind of being buried. Like you kind of have to play that part. You have to be that big, main event guy, maybe potentially be like a mid carder. But The Undertaker says that athleticism is actually a curse in WWE in this modern age. Jinder Mahal says that he's not going to ever come back to WWE. He was kind of flirting with coming back to retire, but obviously that's not going to happen. Tony Khan has said in an interview that international relationships within wrestling promotions mean now more than ever, which I can't really disagree with. I feel like that's the correct way to kind of go about it. I love Tony Khan. I love the way that he's handling AEW as of this moment. Don't forget to buy your WWE 2K24 Bray Wyatt. You get the Fiend, you get Uncle Howdy, and all that stuff. And I'm rapidly running out of time. Matt Cardona confirms with an interview that WWE or AEW has not reached out to him, which is a damn shame. Grayson Waller wants to face John Cena. Kevin Owens is nearing toward a contract negotiation, and Logan Paul wants to fight the Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu in the future. So, a lot of crazy stuff. Sorry, I had to kind of zip through it. But I'm running out of time. I'm basically out of time. It's 9:30. Apologize to my boy Amber, man. All right, so I got to log off, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Superman Punch, like and subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter /X, Facebook, and TikTok for more content and updates. Watch all the other watch all the other wrestling shows. Watch all the other sports shows. We got basketball, football, baseball. We have all around sports with hockey, you name it. So make sure you guys tune into that. Thank you so much for tuning into my show. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to